Hey, what's shaking Fremont? This is Sonny. I'm down here at Veterans Park, right across from the courthouse. And we're going to speak to Kyle Overmyer here in a couple minutes. The former Sandusky County Sheriff. The guy that was on top of the world, it seems, to rock bottom. You know, we've all been there. Some more extreme than others. But hey, Kyle has hurt a lot of people through the years, including myself. But it's always good to forgive and set yourself free, but it's very hard to do. But I'm interested to talk to Kyle. I've talked to him a couple of times since he's been out of jail. But I kind of want to hear what he's got to say, and I'm going to ask him some, hopefully, some tough questions and some questions that require some thought. And none of this is scripted. He doesn't know what I'm going to ask, and I really don't know what I'm going to ask either. I just like to go by feel and see how it goes. So let's talk to Kyle. All right, what's shaking Fremont? I'm here with Kyle Overmyer. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Sonny. Great.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
All right. I'm glad. I want to thank you for spending some time with us and talking. And I know you've been busy, but look, right across the street is the courthouse.
Yes.
The courthouse, the place, the very place you put the bad guys away.
A lot of memories, a lot of events go through my mind as I sit here and look at it,
Yeah.
And also, like we know, it's the place where I went away to prison as well.
Yes. Now, speaking of your past, you were a sheriff. How long were you a sheriff?
I started out, while I was in law enforcement, I started out in 1996, and I worked my way through the ranks, corrections, road patrol, detective bureau. Then ultimately, after the unfortunate passing of Sheriff Gangwer, they had a emergency election, in which then I ended up was appointed as sheriff back in September of 2008.
Okay.
And then at the end, my last date was August of 2016.
Okay, August of 2016.
Correct, when I was indicted and everything started.
I tell you what, that was a somber day for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people here in the county. And going from the top, you were on the top of the world.
Correct.
Big sheriff in town. World County, and all of a sudden you sunk to the bottom. And I talked to you before you were a sheriff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I talked to you while you were a sheriff, and I saw some difference in you, but I just thought maybe it was stress, job related and things like that. But things like that, addictions are hid so well.
Absolutely.
And you were proof of that, right?
I was, and a lot of times I think they're hidden. I found out with myself, denial's a huge obstacle to overcome when it's addiction, pride, and
Yeah.
shame.
Yeah.
And guilt. And those are some serious obstacles one needs to get over to actually start the process of recovery.
Exactly.
And I wasn't ready for those things then because I didn't want to disappoint my family,
Yeah.
people like yourself,
Right.
and in Sandusky County in a whole. But unfortunately, the walls came crumbling down.
Yeah. And did it seem like it came down fast, or was
It did.
slow?
It did, and I didn't want reality to set in, but finally it did. And I had to come to terms with my addiction.
Yep. So there's a point there where you just had to come out and say, "Yeah, I did it."
Correct.
No more denying it.
Take
No
responsibility.
matter what happens, your family, whatever, your co-workers, people in the public, I did it.
Correct.
And that's huge. That's a huge step for recovery. And so you go to prison, spend your time. How long were you in there?
About 3.5 years.
3.5 years.
I was sentenced to 4, got a little bit of good time, went to the halfway house, and during that time, I focused on one thing, and that was Kyle Overmyer. And that was the
Yes.
number one thing. A lot of times people think it's
Yes.
selfish, but it's actually selfless.
You're
Selfless because how am I going to be good for, first as a father,
Right.
for my parents, and to come back out and work with the community again.
Right.
So I had to really work on myself the whole time, and that's what I did the whole time.
Right. I hear that all the time. I want to do it for my kids. I want to do it for my parents. But no, you got to do it for yourself.
Correct.
You got to love yourself first.
You do before
you
anybody
can
else.
before you can love
You're,
others.
you're exactly right, Sonny.
And so I am so glad you took that step, and you stopped denying,
Absolutely.
did your time, and I actually wrote you in
You
prison.
did? You did?
And
Still have those letters?
I tell you what, just hearing the things, reading the things that you were doing in there were impressive. And I thought, man, there's a glimmer of hope. And I was praying for you.
And I appreciate that.
And so those 4 years, did they go fast, or those 3.5 years, did they go fast, or was it really tough?
Some days went quicker than others.
Right. I can't
Of course,
imagine.
you have your good days, your bad times, and the biggest thing is missing your children, your
Right,
family.
right.
Other than that, I hate to say this, but prison was good for me.
You needed it, yeah.
It was good for me.
Right.
I got better instead of bitter.
Right.
And a lot of people get bitter instead of better, but I did the opposite.
Right.
And I used it as an opportunity to grow as a human being and work on my character defects. And I work on them every day, and I continue to work on them each day now, even when I've been released from prison
Right.
as well.
Wow. So fast forward to now. I see you're wearing Recovery Institute of Ohio.
Yep.
And I love the gratitude on your hat. So what are you doing now?
Things changed. My first job, actually, you came and visited me,
Yeah.
was at Lee's Famous
Yeah.
Recipe. Larry Bowman was, he's a great guy.
He's a great guy, I tell you what.
He is. I can't say a
He's
bad
awesome.
thing about him. He reached out to me, knew I needed employment opportunity, and he gave me my first job.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. And from that point, I met one of the individuals that ran Recovery Institute of Ohio.
Uh-huh.
I was going to 4 to 5 AA/NA meetings a week.
Wow.
Before COVID-19 hit.
Wow.
And they offered me to come down and sit down and talk to them. And on that meeting, they offered me a position as a behavioral tech.
Really?
Yes. And started at the houses and working with all the clients.
Right.
Worked my way up, doing groups. And I was recently promoted actually to a new position as community outreach now. So,
awesome. And that's what you like to do. You love to talk to people.
I love it. I have that passion for people like
Yeah.
yourself, Sonny.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing now these days.
That's awesome. Have you seen some changes in some people so far?
Absolutely. You see
Right.
people grow.
You're a great example.
Yeah, on myself. And not only myself, but so many of the clients, you see it. And one of the biggest thing is everybody gets hung up on perfection in life, but truly there's only one thing: progression.
Yeah.
As long as you see progression, and because you'll never see perfection, there's
Right,
only one
nobody
person
can- yeah,
up
nobody's
above,
gonna be
and
perfect.
that's it. It makes you really happy, and it's
Right.
very rewarding to see these clients grow on a daily basis.
Wow.
And not only they grow, but I always speak about how, while they're learning from me, I'm also learning from
Yeah,
them.
you are. You
Yes.
are.
Yes, and I continue to learn.
Right, and when they do well, you probably feel so good.
Oh, it's
Yeah. When they struggle, you know where they're at, where
Absolutely.
you've been there.
yes.
Oh wow! And your hat says gratitude.
Gratitude.
That's like your
That's
your
my
motto now. Or?
It is, and I wear this hat, and I talked about it in my post. Unfortunately I never learned what the word gratitude meant until I was incarcerated,
Yeah.
in prison,
Right.
and thank God I did, because I understood now what gratitude means, and to appreciate some of the little things that I took for granted along the way, as being a human being outside prison. And every day I do a gratitude list, whether it's on a piece of paper or it's my drive to work. I'm being thankful for things, and I tell myself what I'm appreciative for, so that I don't forget. And you know what? It keeps myself humble.
Wow.
It really does. And this whole situation has made me humble as well.
That's good.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with a little humble pie every once in a while.
Good stuff there. I think of that. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad. I'm so happy for you, man.
Right.
I love your gratitude. I love that you instead of, like you say, some people get out of prison and they just scatter and go back to where they were or whatever, and you're reaching out and helping people.
Yeah, and it's important to me, not only working over in Sandusky, but I want to reach out in my own community too, and give back what other people used to give me too.
Right.
And as the sheriff, people did a lot for me, and it's my time to give back and repay them too. So, and that goes along with forgiveness, and people forgiving me, and one of the big struggles was me forgiving myself. And once I got over that hump, things really started to progress with my recovery, and as me as a human being, I had to forgive myself for hurting all those people
Right.
too. And each day it gets better.
Great. Great. All right, Kyle. Well, thanks a lot for your time, and continue the gratitude.
Because it's
And
attitude.
yes, that's right. Nice talking to you, Kyle.
Thank you very much, Sonny. I
All
appreciate
right.
it.